Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Telfer, and I teach art explorations. And I was trying to think of a short video that I could do with something that you already have in the house, like crayons. And most people have crayons. Most people have just plain paper. And this way, while we're confined during the coronavirus, it's really important to be able to be creative. So I was thinking of an object that you might have, which is an apple. I've drawn and painted a lot of apples, and I wanted to do it in crayon. I only have like a few colors, 8 colors. I'm using Prang. These are soy crayons. They're vegan, and any crayons will do. And I wish I had a bigger box with a lot of colors, but this will just show you that you can make some art, a little still life. You can do an apple, just using not many materials. So here's my apple. I did a quick drawing of it with crayons here, and I'm going to do another one so you can see how I did it. Also, I made one on watercolor paper, which is a little bit different. It's got more of a texture to it, and I actually like the one on plain paper better. So I think that's good. Let me move the easel a little bit closer and kind of angle my computer screen here. So, okay, so like I said, you don't need many colors, and you just need an object. And in this case, I'm going to do this apple again. So I can kind of see the top of the apple. So it's roundish, but it's not perfectly round. It's kind of, well, I don't want to say apple shaped, but it is. It's kind of an oval. It's just a weird, not quite a perfectly round. And then this, because I'm looking at it from the top, like kind of at an angle viewing the top, I can see this little curve of it where the stem pokes out. And the stem is going to be right about there. And let's see. Then I'm going to start just by doing that simple shape. Now you notice the direction I'm going with my red strokes. So I'm just going to start with red, but I'll add pretty much all of the other colors, or at least most of them. And I just want to lock in. I'm kind of using the crayon on the side, and I'm not pressing very hard because I'll bring it a little bit closer here to you, to the camera. I'm not pressing hard, and there's a reason for that. You could press really, really hard, but I want to add some other colors, and if I press too hard, it'll get a little bit waxy, and you won't be able to add many other colors. So if you just kind of lightly go over it with the side of the crayon, it's more, I guess, painterly. I'm not doing the tip, I'm not making lines. Maybe, I can do that with the stem, but I really want it to be kind of painting with the crayon. So I hold it on the side. And I just want to get kind of a nice red covering, but not everything. You notice I'm leaving some areas white. Like this has some light shining on it from where I can see, and a little bit here, and there's more yellow in these parts. So I want to leave those blank for now. Whatever, when you use crayons or a lot of different media, if you want something white, you just leave it white. The white of the paper, because you can't always, now, even if I had a white crayon, which I don't, I wish I did right now, but if I did, using crayons, the white wouldn't cover up the other colors. It might look nice and it might lighten the other colors, but it wouldn't totally cover them up. Now I'm going to add a little more dark. This is actually a black crayon, and I'm just doing one side of the stem because one side of it is dark where the light is hitting it, or where the light is not hitting it, and the light side is where the light's hitting it. And the apple is darker at the bottom because it kind of curves down. So you want to, yeah, you can see it. you want to make it darker, because really anytime you draw, it's about the values, which the value means the lights and darks. Because if you didn't have light on a subject, you wouldn't know what shape it is, because you wouldn't be able to see it. So it really makes sense that the values are very important. And since I'm only working with 8 crayons, I need to add a little bit of black. I'm also going to add green, because green is the opposite of red on the color wheel. And when you want something to be darker, you add the opposite. So here's also a little green. It gives it more of a richer shadow than just the black. And you see I'm still not pressing very hard, and that's why I'm getting some nice blending of colors. You don't really get that, if, like I said, if you press real hard. So just give it a light touch and put the color where you, either where you see it on the apple or just wherever you want it, because you're the artist and you can make your apple whatever color you want. If you want a purple apple, that is totally fine. So now it's getting a little bit dark and I want to add some lights. I'm going to add more red. You notice I'm pressing a little bit harder now. So, because I want you to be able to see the red, and I'm not going to add too many more colors to this area, so I can press a little bit harder, and it fills in the white paper a bit more, so which gives it more of a kind of a shinier apple-y look. And it's an apple, so you want it to look apple-y. And again, down here, even when I add the red, it just makes it darker over the green. And you want the bottom dark so that it looks like you can see the shape of it. You leave some lights. You definitely need to have some highlights shining on it to see the shape, but you also need some darks. And the darks and lights are very important. If it was all one value, like if it was all light, all dark, or all medium, it would be very flat and you wouldn't be able to tell that it's an actual round apple. Now let me add some yellow. Yellow is gonna kind of brighten it up. And yellow, being the lightest color that I have, is also kind of blending the other colors. If I had a white crayon, I might try adding some white here too. So you might wanna kind of go over most of it with white when you're getting near finishing. And it makes kind of a real interesting, sort of a creamy look to it, where the white blends some of the other colors together. Let's see. This apple is definitely greener than the one I did before. Now, so we're at the bottom. I'm going to leave some of these highlights, but behind the stem, you know, I want some red in there. And also, you know how sometimes apples have a little bit of brown, like on the inside here. This is the only time I'm using the brown color. Kind of like that. But then I still want to leave some light where the light is hitting it. And now I think I'll put in like a blue table, because my apple is not floating in the air, although it could be if you want it floating in the air. And let's see, I'm just gonna turn it to make it a little bit easier for me. And I'm gonna put this dark blue down at the bottom because it's darkest, the shadow. You need a shadow or it looks like it's floating, like I said. And let's see, I'm gonna make the shadow going this way. The shadow could be in any direction. Could be straight forward, we wouldn't see it. It could be on that side. And I'll darken it up just a bit. And since it's a blue table and a blue shadow, I'll put in a couple other blue lines here, just to let's see. Then I'm going to add just like I did before, because I don't have a lot of values of colors in this little 8-pack. Now you might have a lot more crayons than I do. I'm going to add just a little bit of black to that because it gives it a better shadow, a darker shadow. And maybe I'll do some like diagonal, what is that? Oh, that's brown, okay. I'll add a little bit of brown, but I also want a color in the background, so maybe purple. And as a very general rule, you don't have to follow any rules because it's art, you know? So really, but as a general rule, if you use cool colors in the background, like blues and greens and purples, and warm colors in the foreground, like reds and oranges, as a very general rule, that will make your subject pop out a little bit. So now I just feel like I want the stem to pop out a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit of black and kind of darken this up a bit. Maybe there's the shadow of the stem kind of that way. And I want to brighten it up just a bit too. So now I'm pressing really hard. Just to make it pop out a little more. And like I said before, you can draw a flower. You can use the same principle to draw any object. If you have something that you really like, could be anything. A special coffee cup or keychain or you know, maybe you don't have apples in your house and you have pears. You might want to do that, or like a Cubs hat. I said that for all my students who are Cub fans, because anybody who knows me knows that I would also like to say a White Sox hat, because I'm a White Sox fan. All right. So I think we're done. Okay. And don't forget to sign it. And in case you frame it, don't sign it too low or it might get out of the frame. So, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little Apple demo, and I would love to see if anybody out there does one or does any crayon art at all. I think that it's funny how people think of crayons as something for kids. And I think crayons are an awesome medium that adults can use and anybody can use, really. So there you go. It was really great spending some time here. See you later.